Salvete omnes hodie est dies Iovis. Today is Thursday. Iovis erat Jupiter. Jupiter erat rex deorum. Jupiter erat deus caeli. Jupiter erat maritus Junonis, sed quoque amat multas feminas. Ehu. So it was fun to do that again with you guys. I know you guys love Thursdays. Those are fun sentences. Today in class, our quote of the day is qui bene amat, bene castigat. And that translates gently to, he or she who loves well, chastises well, or criticizes well. The idea, maybe your parents can relate to this. You ever have them say to you something like, I'm only doing this because I love you, right? And sometimes they're being hard on you because they're trying to teach you something because they love you. Sometimes that's life. We could talk more about it in our afternoon session. Today, what we're going to be doing is reading the story Aristo. You could use the Story Explorer, the textbook, or the e-web book on Cambridge Elevate. This is on page 116 in our books, and you're going to be reading it independently, but I'm going to read it out loud to you as well, and then you will write a poem inspired by the story. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. So we're sharing screens now. Before we begin the reading, I want you guys to watch the video here, Aristo introduction. It's just like a 30-second video to, acquaint yourself with the story, get you ready to be reading that Latin. I'll give you guys a second. You can watch the video, pause this one and watch that one. Then I'll come back and we can read the whole thing together. So go ahead and watch that video now. Pause me, watch that. Okay, so now we are all back from watching the Aristo introduction video. As you guys can see, I have the story projected on my screen. Before we begin reading the story, let's take a look at the title, Aristo. What do we already know about Aristo? You may want to revisit page 114, right? We already know something about Aristo here. We know Hiquir est Aristo. Aristo est amicus Barbili. He's the friend of Barbilus. In villa splendida habitat. He has a splendid house. Sed miserimus est. But he is miserable. I think this story we're going to find out some of the reasons that Aristo is so miserable. Let's go ahead and read. By the way, you could also be reading the story using the Story Explorer. Using the Story Explorer, you can click on the individual words that maybe you don't know. You could also listen to a different recording other than my own voice. And you could also explore derivatives, right, in English, French, and Spanish. I'm going to read from here because I like that we have our words glossed here, and I like the pictures. This is a Roman theater in the city of Alexandria, a much smaller theater than the ones that maybe we've seen in Pompeii, but there are many different theaters, right? And here we see a fresco painting of a playwright. We can imagine Aristo with a scroll in his hand. We see our theater masks here. thinking hard about what kinds of plays he wants to write. Let's begin. Aristo, vir miserimus est, quod vitam doram vivit. Pater Aristonis, scriptor notissimus erat, qui in Graecia habitabat. Tragodias optimas scribebat. Aristo, quod ipse tragoedia scribere volt, vitam quietam quaerit. Sed uxor et filia ei obstant. Galatea uxor Aristonis, Galatea uxor Aristonis, amicos ad vilam semper invitat. Amici Galateae sunt Tibicines et Cytharoidi. Qui amici in villa Aristonis semper cantant et iocos faciunt. Aristo amicos uxoris semper fugit. Really quick, Tibicines et Cytharoidi. Tibicines, these are pipe players, and Kythera players. Go ahead and Google what those look like, but the Tibicines, these are kind of like flutes, but I think it's a common word that we could use for pipe player. So if you are a bagpiper at our school, I would call you a, someone who plays the Tibicines, right? The pipes. Kytheras, they are kind of like if you took a guitar and a harp and had a baby, that would be like a kythera. It's a Greek instrument, kind of the primordial guitar. Both these are very popular instruments in the ancient world. Okay, let's keep reading. Helena, Helena. Quoque filia Aristonis et Galateae patrem vexat. Multos juvenes ad vilam patris invitat. Amici Helenae sunt poetae. In villa Aristonis poetae versus suas recitant. Aristo versus non amat, quod scurriles sunt. Saepe poetae inter se pugnant. Saepe Aristo amicos filia e villa expellit. Ehu difficult est Aristoni tragoedias scribere. Okay, so that's the story. And what we are going to be doing in our class, and this is actually also in our classwork here, your assignment, you are going to read the story of Aristo and then write a poem, just like Aristo is a playwright. All of those Euenes who visit Aristo's house to hang out with Helena, they are all poetae. So you can be in the voice of Aristo, you can be in the voice of Galatea, Helena, one of the young men. Maybe you're looking down on all of them, kind of outside the situation. And you are going to create a Google Doc and write a poem on that Google Doc. And it's going to be at least 10 lines. It's going to be in English, so no worries there. It does not have to rhyme. And don't forget to give it a creative title. Don't just call it Aristo poem. Maybe give it something that relates to the subject of your poem. During today, which is Thursday, and tomorrow's group sessions, I will answer any of your questions that you have about the assignment. And in tomorrow's pre-recorded video, I'm going to share some of my favorite poems from this assignment from past years, okay? So that is all for today's video. And I look forward to seeing you later. Wale!